A few thoughts on Raphael's painting, The Miraculous Draught of Fish. Pesca Miracolosa, painting executed on paper in tempera. This painting exemplifies most remarkably the virtue of moderation. It does so in various ways. Let us consider a few of them. First of all, we see the theme, the fishing. Who is being fished? Obviously, not merely the animals that are subhuman, but men themselves. Indeed, it is the human spirit, the human mind that is being fished out of its fallen condition. We have black figures surrounding the fishermen. From the heavens, blackbirds. In the forefront, other birds, dark black birds. On the coast, opposite to where the fishermen are landing, we see various people. They are not fishermen. They are not to be fetched. They are not seeking salvation. They remain tied to the ways of men, to the ways of the city. There is dark smoke again coming out of one of the chimneys in a house. So we have a distancing from those people, from the city, and yet the distancing does not take us to, not quite, to an opposite shore. On that opposite shore stand birds, constituting a further menace. The menace is mirrored in the heavens. The goal of moderation is not to leap into the heavens. The goal is not to abandon life to reach another shore, namely the shore of the otherworldly. The goal is not well perceived by the fishermen on the right-hand side of the painting. And yet we see a shift from the right to the left. At the far left, of course, we find the figure of Jesus, who is turned in the opposite direction with respect to the fishermen. As we see, the first fisherman on the right is not clothed, not properly clothed, we might say. He is carrying an oar. He is working hard to reach the other side. The fishermen that follow him as we move towards Jesus are clothed in colors that are warm, brown, gold, orange, moving towards red. As we shift from one boat to the other, we see that the colors are growing colder. We are losing that warmth, moving towards green, and then blue, which is approaching the light blue, and finally the white of Jesus. This is to say that the passions are being moderated, they're being cooled down, and yet here is an instance of reminder of moderation, of the importance of moderation. The shadow, or rather the reflection of Jesus in the water is red. What is more, Jesus is turning back towards the passions. What does this tell us? Jesus is raising his hand in sign of moderation. more than just blessing, moderation, just as we find in the representation of Aristotle by Raphael in the School of Athens. He is calling us to moderate the passions. Jesus, as Aristotle, turns back to human things. And this is possible, however, on the basis of a Platonic impetus toward the truth of things, toward the, shall we say, what the transcendence that man by nature seeks. Now, how does painting help us find this moderation? How does it help us turn toward the passions by way of moderating them? We see reflections in the water. These reflections are an intimation of the capacity of painting and of the painter, of course, to reflect human things, to reflect human life. And indeed, the reflection pertains also to the body insofar as it is painted. When the body is painted, and here therefore it is found in the painting, it can now reflect matters of the spirit. It is only in the painting that the human body can finally point to the mind without ambiguities, without distracting us away from the mind. This is the great achievement, the labor of the painter, properly understood. He draws the physical within the realm of artifice, of a kind of poetry, so that it may reflect things of the mind. And indeed, the purity of the mind, represented here by Jesus, by the figure of Jesus, is pointing us back to our ordinary life, to the life of men, showing that moderation is indeed possible, a moderation that is predicated on, however, a Platonic impulse to what is not moderate, namely truth.